Hello guys, on the 11th of October 2023, this woman by name favour Nweke poured hot oil on her husband after a matrimonial dispute between her and her husband, which originated from the fact that she accused her husband of cheating on her and also accused her husband of not giving her her own share of the theft which her husband and other gang members carried out on a very wealthy man. These all happened in Okechi in Eche local government area of Rivers State of Nigeria. Now guys, stay with me as I reveal deep details on the reason why she must have carried out that heinous crime of pouring hot oil on her husband, which got her husband to look like this today. And guys, if you're new here, please subscribe and like, comment and share. Please subscribe so that we can get up to 1,000 subscriptions, and do not forget to like. By that, this video can go viral. And also do not forget to share with your family members and friends to create awareness about this true crime story. Now guys, without further ado, let us get into this crime story. Favour Nweke and her husband Ekelideri Nweke have been married for 5 years, but their marriage was not a happy one. Their neighbors recounted on how they usually fight each other every single day, and how they also verbally abuse each other every single time. So their 5-year-long marriage wasn't a happy one. It was filled with physical abuse and verbal abuse all the time. Favour Nweke complained to the police that all the time she had been living with her husband has been cheating on her. Her husband will always leave the house around 12 a.m. in the morning, or at times 1 a.m. in the morning, and come back to the house around 8 a.m. in the morning. And when she asked her husband, where are you coming from at this time, her husband will always give her the dead eye and threaten to beat her up. According to she too will not let go of her husband for disrespecting her in their own marriage. She pressed on accusing him and started insulting him for disrespecting her in their own marriage. That is, leaving the house around 1 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. in the morning, and coming back around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning. She went further to say that one day one of her husband's friends had called her, telling her that her husband had duped one wealthy man in Abuja, and her husband and his friends had duped that man of 20 million naira. That's roughly 40,000 US dollars. So to her it was a shock, because all the time she has been thinking of her husband cheating on her, thinking of the fact that the reason her husband will leave the house around 2 or 1 a.m. in the morning and come back around 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning, it was because her husband was cheating on her with other women. So to her, she had realized that her husband wasn't cheating on her, but her husband was leaving around that ungodly time at night to go steal from people's houses. So on the 10th of October 2023, her husband had left around 1 a.m. again in the morning to go out to cheat on her or to steal from other people's houses. So she waited for her husband to come very early in the morning. Her husband came back around 10 a.m. in the morning, and she started quarreling her husband for disrespecting her. Then she reminded her husband that, I know why you always go out around 1 a.m. in the morning. It's because you go out with your gang of friends to go steal from people's houses. I know that you had stolen 20 million naira from a very wealthy man who lives in Abuja. Where is your own share of the 20 million naira loot? Because your friends told me that they had used their own part of the money to buy land and also to build houses with the money. So things got heated between her and her husband on the 10th of October. They started quarreling and fighting. And her husband said, I am not a thief. She said, no, you are a thief. Because that explains the reason why you always leave home around 1 a.m. in the morning and come back around 10 a.m. in the morning. You are a thief, you are a thief. Where is my own part of the share of the theft which you carried out with your gang of friends? Her husband told her that there is no money, and they immediately started fighting. Her husband gave her a slap, and all of a sudden, she got angry and got hot oil out of the fire which she had put, to fry fish in the morning, and pour it on her husband. Guys, this is the picture of her husband when her husband was not burnt by the hot oil. Look at how cute he looks like. And now this is the picture of her husband after being poured hot oil by his wife. How can a woman be this callous, this evil, to do such a thing to her own very own husband, the father of her children? It's crazy. Now the police asked her husband about his own side of the story. Her husband said the reason why his wife poured hot oil on him was simply because he drove his sister-in-law, who was living with them for a very long time, out of his house. He gave his sister-in-law 2,000 naira to go back to the village, that he does not want his sister-in-law living in their matrimonial home with his wife. And when his wife returned back from the market and found out that he had already drove her sister out of the house, she immediately went and started quarreling her husband. Then her husband replied by hitting her. According to her husband's confession, she went into the kitchen and poured hot oil out of the fire and poured it on him. while he was sitting down in the living room. So guys, this is crazy. This true crime story is crazy. I'd like to get your thoughts down at the comment section of what you think about this true crime story, because the marriage was not a very happy marriage. It was filled with a lot of troubles, infighting, quarreling and everything, because for her to really pull hot oil out of the fire and pour it on her husband, it seems as if she had had enough of her husband. But despite her having enough of her husband, that does not mean you pour hot boiled oil on your husband. Meaning you had the intentional mind to kill your husband. Because of what? Because your husband cheated on you. Because your husband is a thief. Or because your husband drove your sister-in-law out of his house. That is why you decided to pour hot boiled oil on your husband. So the things your husband did to you, or did to your family members, or the things your husband did, cheating on you, all of that, does not warranted such an evil act from you as a wife. Does not warranted such an evil act from you as a wife. That is so evil to do such a thing. And I also have to emphasize on the fact that people have to learn how to control their anger. We all have to learn how to control our anger. Because if we can't control our anger, it will get us to a very bad place in life, which we will all regret it. The Bible says, be slow to speak, quick to listen, and be slow to anger. Don't let your anger towards something get a better part of you. The Bible says, be angry, but do not let the sun go down, on your anger. Because what this woman had carried out on her husband, it was due to the fact that she was so bitterly angry after her husband hit her. So she decided to carry out a very heinous act to show her husband that she's stronger and she can do far more worse to hurt her husband if her husband dares, to put his hands on her. That is why she went and pulled hot fried oil from the fireside and poured it on her husband. So guys, I would like to get your thoughts down at the comment section. For me, this woman should be given life imprisonment for doing that to her husband. She should be given life imprisonment. No matter what her husband did to her, it did not warranted her to do such a thing to her husband, to pour hot oil on her husband. You never should take the laws into your own hands. If you feel your husband was a thief, you would have reported your husband to the police. If you feel your husband was cheating on you, you would have called a family meeting between your husband's people and your own people to settle the family issue between you and your husband. And if you feel your husband did wrong by kicking your sister out of the house, you would have confronted your husband peacefully, or you would have reported the matter to your husband's family, that you do not like the fact that your husband had to throw your sister out of, your matrimonial home. So guys, that is my thoughts about this true crime story. I would like to get your thoughts down at the comment section. I love you all, but know Jesus Christ loves you more. Stay safe and be blessed. Bye bye.